Rain poured down in steady sheets as Emma stepped onto the packed city bus, her shoes squeaking slightly against the wet floor. Her hospital ID still dangled from her jacket, a reminder of the long night shift she had just finished. A heavy tote bag, filled with nursing books and notes, tugged on her shoulder as she quietly made her way down the narrow aisle. Her eyes, though tired, still carried warmth, and her gentle smile hadn't faded, even after hours of caring for patients. The bus was full, commuters, office workers, students, all packed shoulder to shoulder, faces buried in phones or gazing blankly out rain-splattered windows. Finally, Emma spotted an empty seat near the middle. She slid into it with a relieved sigh, wiping rain from her brow. Just as she settled in, the bus jolted to a stop. The doors opened, and an elderly man stepped in slowly, his coat damp, hands trembling slightly as he reached for the handrail. He looked around, his eyes scanning for a seat. No one moved. People avoided his gaze. Emma saw him, and without a second thought, stood up. "Please, sir," she said softly, offering her place. The man looked surprised, then gave her a small, knowing nod as he slowly took the seat. He didn't say much, but his eyes followed her quietly as she stood nearby, gripping the rail. She didn't know it, but that one small act had just changed the course of her life. The bus rolled on through the rainy city streets, windshield wipers beating a slow rhythm. Emma stood calmly, swaying slightly with each turn, one hand on the cold metal pole, the other clutching her book-filled tote. Her eyelids drooped from exhaustion, but her posture remained steady. She didn't complain. She didn't look for attention. She simply stood there, offering quiet strength in a world that often rushed past kindness. Seated now in the spot she had given up, the elderly man observed her with growing interest. His wrinkled hands rested on a polished wooden cane, and his eyes, sharp despite age, moved from Emma to the other passengers. He noticed how she helped a mother struggling with a baby stroller, offering to hold the diaper bag. He saw her pick up a stranger's dropped glove and return it with a polite nod. Small gestures. Quiet humanity. No one else seemed to notice. Most were plugged into their headphones or scrolling through phones, disengaged from the world around them. But she was fully present. What Emma didn't know, what no one on that bus could have guessed, was that the man she had offered her seat to wasn't just any tired old commuter. He was Mayor Harold Green, traveling anonymously to experience the city without the barrier of bodyguards, nameplates, or press flashes. And in that moment, among a sea of strangers, it wasn't a headline or a speech that moved him. It was her, a young woman with tired eyes and a giving heart. It was late afternoon when Emma returned to her small apartment, her scrubs exchanged for a warm hoodie and her nursing textbook stacked on the kitchen table. She kicked off her shoes, stretched her aching back, and moved to pour herself some tea, just another quiet moment in a long week. But as she bent down to pick up the mail, something unusual caught her eye. A thick, cream-colored envelope rested just inside the doorway, slipped beneath it with care. Her name was handwritten on the front in elegant script, Miss Emma Carter. No stamp, no return address. Curious and a little cautious, she opened it slowly. Inside was a folded letter on official stationery, the golden seal of the city of Brookhaven stamped at the top. Emma blinked, confused. Her hands trembled slightly as she read. Dear Miss Carter. You offered me your seat on a crowded bus without knowing who I was. That act of kindness reminded me why I entered public service in the first place. While others looked away, you acted with grace, dignity, and humanity. I was not just another old man on the bus. I am Mayor Harold Green. Your gesture, though small, left a lasting impression on me. I would be honored if you'd join me at City Hall next week, not for judgment, but recognition. Emma sat down slowly, the letter shaking in her hands. That old man, she whispered. He's the mayor. The following week, Emma stood at the grand steps of City Hall, nervously adjusting the sleeves of her best blouse. She'd never been to a place like this before, all marble floors, tall columns, and polished brass railings. Inside, a small crowd had gathered, city employees, local press, and a few curious onlookers. She had been invited as an honored guest, but she still felt out of place, like a regular girl in a world of titles and suits. Her heart pounded as the doors to the chamber opened and Mayor Harold Green entered. This time not in a worn coat, but in a sharp blue suit, exuding the quiet authority of a man used to leadership. He walked to the podium and began to speak. In a city full of busyness, stress, and noise, he said, it's easy to forget the power of small moments. But one young woman reminded me that kindness doesn't need a stage to matter. Then he turned, extended a hand, and smiled warmly. Emma Carter, please join me. Emma stepped forward, cheeks flushed, as murmurs filled the room. She stood beside him, unsure what to do. He gently pinned a community kindness medal to her jacket. In her one simple gesture, he continued, Emma made this city feel human again. The crowd erupted in applause. Cameras flashed, but Emma's eyes were fixed on the mayor, the man she had once helped without expecting a thank you. She never wanted recognition. But she had earned it. A soft morning sun filtered through the windows of the city bus as it rolled along its familiar route. Emma stepped on board, now in her crisp nursing uniform, her ID badge clipped proudly beside a small silver medal, the Community Kindness Medal pinned discreetly to her bag. This time, she didn't look tired. She looked peaceful. People on the bus recognized her now. Some nodded politely, others smiled, not because she was famous, but because her story had touched them. They remembered the girl who gave up her seat without hesitation, who offered warmth in a cold city. A few even stood up to offer her their seat, but Emma kindly declined with a soft laugh. She still preferred to stand, to observe, to stay grounded. Near the back, a young mother struggled to juggle her toddler and a diaper bag. Without a word, Emma stepped forward, held the child for a moment, and offered comfort like it was the most natural thing in the world. She hadn't changed, not at her core. But now the world was seeing her clearly. As the bus pulled to a stop near City Hall, she glanced out the window and smiled. Mayor Green stood across the street, sipping coffee from a paper cup. Their eyes met. He gave her a small, respectful nod, no podium, no speech. Just a shared understanding. Emma turned back toward the aisle, the city moving all around her. And so, with one seat offered, an entire city had learned how to stand a little taller.